Hey, I'm Agnez Mo, and you are watching Character Media. No, you did not get that video. Oh my God. Who's that girl? I don't think I still remember the experience, but I think what I remember from that day is I recently lost my tooth. Yes, that's the one. I lost my front tooth probably like 2 days before the shoot. See, meong actually means meow. Like, meong is actually meow. So yeah, I was talking about my experience with my cat.
Maafin saya, Gun. Pasti kamu dimarahin ibu kamu gara-gara main sama saya.
It kind of made me a little emotional. Oh my gosh, it's been a while. Wow. This one hit a little differently because the story is somewhat controversial because it's about a teenage girl who, got pregnant before marriage. And as you know, especially in Asian countries, Southeast Asia, that's very frowned upon, right? Like when you have kids outside of, marriage. But unfortunately, we have to realize that it happens, right? Like it happens all around the world, including, Southeast Asian countries. When I took the role, I was 13 years old, and I remember my dad actually didn't want me to take this role, for obvious reasons, because, he felt like, you're too young and you can't be playing this type of role. But then my mom, thank God, I have a very open-minded mom, and she said, well, this is just a character. It's not like she's, doing this. It's not like she's promoting this, right? And my mom took the chance, because, well, she asked me first, hey, are you comfortable? Do you want to take this role? And all I was thinking about is my acting skill. Like, no, like I want this. I want to get better at acting. I feel like this is a great, story behind it, and this is somewhat inspired by a lot of untold, real stories. So I said, no, I wanted to do it. I was in 7th grade, and my mom put in the contract so many, rules in the clauses, like, oh, there's, the scene needs to be appropriate for her age, and everything that you make her do on set, like, it has to be within, like, the parents' approval and whatnot. And I'm actually really glad that she did that, because she, wasn't trying to limit what I could do, but in a way, she's also protecting me. This album came out years ago, and not a lot of fans or, just audience in general expected that from, like a 17-year-old girl, like very rebellious and, think out of the box, like creatively, visually. This was somewhat, like the breakthrough, me trying to, speak up and tell the whole world, okay, this is my identity, like this is who I am. But also at the same time, it was still kind of controversial because my age, and then, at that time, a lot of people thought that my outfit or like what I represented wasn't, appropriate for my age at the time. But I just didn't give a so I just kept going. I kept going, and I felt like I should be able to always represent the true me, like my true identity, even if that means not everybody could understand. The rebranding from Agnes Monica to Agnez Mo, I never really felt like it was a rebranding. I felt like I was more Agnez Mo than Agnes Monica at the time, The funny story behind it actually started from Twitter account, okay, guys? So it wasn't even like, oh, we had a meeting with the management. Oh, should we like rebrand this and then change your image? No. One of my good friends told me about, oh, there's, this new app called Twitter. Like, you need to get on that. And I didn't want my fans to find out, and so I put it on private. And usually my fans would still search, oh, Agnes Monica, So I actually I still wanted to put my name, but I wanted to, to have my name, that, a name that my fans wouldn't be able to like search quickly. So I just put, Agnes with a Z, Monica. Instead of Monica, it's Mo. It's literally as simple as that, Agnez Mo. Since then, I just felt like, Agnez Mo is really more me. The first song that I ever wrote here in LA when I first wanted to make the move over here was with Kizzo. Kizzo is one of my most favorite producers, and now he's like family. It's called Shut 'Em Up. And we held on to that record for years. I think I wrote that in 2011, if I'm not mistaken, 2010, 2011, even before I worked with Timbaland. So that was even before Coke Bottle came out, anything. So it was the very first one, but we held on to that record. We just felt like, maybe it's not the right time, and then time goes by, and then all of a sudden we forgot about it, and then we're like, wait a second, we actually have been sitting on this record forever. But around that time, we finally, did that whole album, which was only done for physical CDs. So all this time, people could only listen to those songs on physical CDs that they bought in 2015 or something. And I actually just dropped it on my digital platforms. And my fans were like, do we have to wait 10 years for you to drop this? Because, they've been wanting to, but, there's always this, story behind the scene that I could never, tell the complete story because, there's a lot of politics, going behind, putting out an album and being signed to a record label, and then the label doesn't like the song, and then, you try to get your masters back. There's always that, that I couldn't really tell the story to my fans because I didn't feel like I wanted to disappoint them. So I always try to just keep it to myself, I think because I grew up in that era of, divas or artists should only focus on the music and the art. Obviously, I developed that kind of, mindset where I felt like, my fans wouldn't care if I had problems. Until finally, I got to talk about it a little bit in another interview that I did. So that's when my fans oh my gosh. So actually, it wasn't you who didn't want to put that out. It was because you were going through all these crazy shit behind behind the scene. And after that, I realized, oh wow, they actually care. They actually want to know, and they're actually fine with that decision at the time. I didn't disappoint them. So after that, I just put it out. I just put out the whole album on digital platforms, and it went #1, and it's still #1, in Indonesia, all genre, and also R&B. It was quite humbling and encouraging at the same time, knowing that, wow, they still respect and appreciate, my art even after 10 years later. I see you looking at my curves, Coke bottle. I see you looking at my curves, Coke bottle. I remember my first starstruck was when I met Timbaland in the studio. When he walked inside the room and he called my name Ag. I'm like, oh, he knows my name. And he calls me Ag. Because in Indonesia, people always call me Agnes or Mo, or Monica or Agnez, But the first person who called me Ag was Timbaland. Until now, everybody just calls me, hey, AG, hey, Ag, hey. When I first worked with Timbaland, so Coke Bottle was produced by Timbaland and his camp. He never felt the need to show me that he knows it all, because he probably knows it all, when it comes to, music business. But I think the whole experience really opened my eyes to, this caliber of producers, they actually let the artists be who they are. And this is the type of person that I want to work with. This is the type of mentor that I want to work with. And never had he, told me to be, Agnes, you need to be a little bit more like this. You need to be less this. Because, again, we're talking about years ago, 10 years ago. It wasn't quite normal to see a petite Asian girl dancing to an edgy, R&B or like rhythmic type of record. So I remember, walking into meetings and people would love it. Music, we're talking about big music executives, big labels, and oh my God, like we love you. We've never seen anything like, like this, and like you got your swag and this. Like we never thought that, blah blah blah. But then the moment that it got to the point where I had to record, then they started saying something like, hey, it's either you're not American enough or you're too Asian. It's always that. I thought that it would be, coming out here, it would be more of a accepting, environment. And then I had to deal with a lot of, the politics. But when I met Timbaland, he never ever made me feel that way. And that was to me the biggest lesson I've ever gotten from him. And that's the reason why until till this day, he's still my mentor. We still talk to each other. So yeah, this to me, because he let me be who I am, it kind of like set the tone after that. After that, I just, what? If Timbaland liked me for who I am and the type of music that I'm making, then I don't have to compromise. When opposites attract, I overdose. Yeah. So, overdose. What's cool about it is that when we met, when I met Chris and when we, finally started talking about, making music together, I wasn't signed. So I remember I put out a few songs and a few music videos before then, and he saw that. So, and not only that, he actually told me that he saw all of those were directed by me. And as you know, he himself is a great, music video director, and he usually just directs him, himself. So I think the conversation that we had in the studio stems from that. Because it's like, oh, you're also a real artist. You really know what you want to do. Like, you really know what you're doing. And then it started with him wanting me to sing on, one of his records on the deluxe album. It's called On Purpose. So that started from there. And then after that, we just, we were just in the studio working, a few months, here and there. And I was there too with my amazing friend, Jim Beans. We were so excited about the music that we came up with, the song that we wrote. And there was no conversation of, oh, we need to put this out, we need to, have an album, we need to... No, like those weeks that, we hang out and we were in the studio, we write the songs, it's all about the art. We focused on the art. We picked probably the best 10 records that we've worked together. Okay, this is an album. We actually wanted to call that album XO because both of us actually had an album called X. And just before we decided to just put this out, it's like a f*** mentality. It's like, no, just put this out, right? One label, they heard the record and they wanted to sign me. And so in that time, I was signed for, a single deal. And the reason why is because, before we're committing into a longer term deal. I wanted to see how we work together for this one, and I just felt like they were the right choice. Both of us, me and Chris, wish that we could have put out, the whole album right after that. But right now we have 10 songs that's now sitting, in my laptop and on his laptop. Get loose, get loose, get loose. Get loose, get loose, get loose. Get loose, get loose, get loose. Whether you sober or you're going up the juice. I always feel like us human beings, we always have these layers, these sides, that we just get to choose which one we want to show, show people that day, right? Or it might be the sweet Agnes, or it might be just the fun Agnes. But some days I just want to be quiet and I don't want to, talk to nobody. Some days I just want to focus on art, but some days I just want to party with my friends, and that's fine too. Get Loose is really just that fun record that I want to be able to celebrate, with my fans. We actually didn't plan on having any feature whatsoever because, we thought, oh, I already had Timbaland, I already had, French Montana on one of my records, I have, but okay, I wanted to just put something out solo. And I heard that Ciara heard the record and she loved it and she wanted to jump on the record. I mean, who says no to Ciara, right? And she's like, man, do you remember like the 1-2 step and all that? You know, like she's the it girl. You know, she's the one who dances her ass off. So to me, to be able to have that kind of collaborative work with her, and her message is always positive. She just has great energy all around. And, you know, both of us really made it work. It was a one-day shoot, but it was a long one-day shoot. I think I did 6 outfits. That to me is probably the most iconic. Shout out to Verbal Ambush, because that is Ambush, the iconic bunny look. That is probably one of my best work so far. My best music videos I've ever done so far.
Lastly, we just wanted to ask if there's anything you have coming up that you can share.
I don't want to promise anything because my fans sometimes will be like, well, you said it on January 30th, 2:37 p.m. You promised us to but actually I have 2 albums done. And I just said it here first. I got 2 albums done.